Waking up, I had transmigrated as a billionaire villain boss. But before I could enjoy the overwhelming wealth, the villain system threw a bucket of cold water on me. Detecting host's destiny. You will become a stepping stone for the protagonist because you overprotect your dim-witted son, eventually dying miserably under a bridge. Hearing this, I glanced at the hospital bed, where that idiot's son was still yelling, "My dad is Chin Tian." I backhanded him twice, leaving the entire room petrified. You've completely humiliated the Chin family, slapping the rebellious son and changing the plot. Reward, divine poison physician technique. Seeing such a good deal, my gaze toward my son grew increasingly fervent. Just minutes ago, right after I crossed over and cleared up the situation, the driver in the front row, Li Jun, softly reminded me, "Boss, we've arrived at Shanghai Hospital." I looked up and saw a line of blue text floating above his head. Loyalty 90%. Good fellow. Finally someone reliable. According to the original plot, this Li Jun died taking a bullet for me. Outside the car, 4 burly men in black suits stood in a row, faces full of murderous intent. Passersby looked on, whispering, "That's President Qin of the Qin Group. He looks even more imposing in person than on TV. I heard his son was beaten and hospitalized. He must be here to visit." Expressionless, I walked toward the VIP building amidst gazes of envy and awe. Just as I reached the ward door, I heard pig-like howling from inside. "It hurts like hell. Believe it or not, I'll have my dad fire your whole family. Do you know who my dad is? Qin Tian. All of Qiuming City has to watch his face. You dare touch a hair on my head, you'll never work here again." Outside, my temples throbbed. It was that idiot again, the jinx of the family, an ancestor specialized in his own father. I slammed the door open and walked in. Trin Shiji saw me and immediately changed face, his face covered in snot and tears. "Dad, you have to avenge me. That hillbilly broke my leg. I want to chop him up and feed him to the dogs." Looking at this rotten wood that cannot be carved, and thinking how I'd lose everything and die without a grave because of him, a fire surged in my heart. Then, under the stunned gazes of the doctors and bodyguards, I rushed forward. My arm swung heavily, landing a solid slap on Qin Shiji's face. "What are you wailing for? You've disgraced the Qin family." I spoke coldly, my words hitting the floor like ice shards. Qin Shiji clutched his face, eyes wide. "Dad, you hit me? I should hit a waste like you." I threw another backhand slap. "Scream again, and I'll take off your other leg." Angrily slapping the spendthrift son, successfully deviated from the main plot. Villain points, +300. First time breaking established destiny. Reward, newbie gift pack, divine poison physician technique. System notifications popped up rapidly. Before I could react, a massive flood of information poured into my brain. This divine poison physician technique was ridiculously overpowered. Hundreds of lethal poison recipes, all colorless, odorless, and undetectable. I took a quick look at the system panel and found that, except for my charm, everything was below the standard for a normal male. My charm was at 500, which I felt was very reasonable, but why was my luck only 100? The system gave feedback. Due to the Destiny protagonist, the host's luck is slowly being drained by him. Luck is invisible and untouchable, yet it's the key to success or failure. What exactly can villain points do? I asked internally. The host can exchange them for real-world resources in the villain mall. Every 1,000 points unlocks one lucky draw for enhanced skills or rare items. My eyes lit up. There was indeed a mall button. Clicking in, the most prominent thing was cash exchange. 1 point for 100,000 Dragon Country coins. There was also equity exchange. 1,000 points for a 1% increase in shares. Seeing this ratio, my heart raced. It meant those 2 slaps to my son were equivalent to making over 30 million for free. Feeling the vast knowledge in my head and looking at the idiot's son shrinking in fear, a cold arc curled at the corner of my mouth. I sat down on the sofa. "All right, now tell me, what exactly happened?" Qin Shiji was dazed by my sudden calmness. "WH, what should I say? What else? The sequence of events. If you don't explain the ins and outs, how am I supposed to clean up your mess? Why was this kid, born with a silver spoon, so incredibly stupid?" After speaking, I glanced at Li Jun, who caught the hint immediately. Seconds later, the doctor was invited out. and the door was shut tight. Seeing that his father really intended to back him up, Shinshiji got excited and started pouring out his grievances, exaggerating every detail. 10 minutes later, my face was so dark it could drip ink. Turns out the kid was hitting on a girl in the street, got stopped, and then a fight broke out. The bodyguards were all flattened, and his own leg was kicked broken. A country bumpkin, who'd only been in the city for a few days, could beat professionally trained bodyguards and snap the leg of the Qin family's young master. I didn't even need to think. That guy was 80% likely a Child of Destiny character. "Dad, you have to get justice for me," Shinshiji hissed. "Breaking my leg is slapping your face. That guy is too strong for normal people. Why don't we find a ruthless person to—" "Shut up!" I roared, interrupting him. "Is it your place to teach me how to do things? Looking for a hitman? Has water entered your brain?" Hearing his absurd ideas made my head throb. Only a brainless person would think of such a rotten plan. Anyone sane would realize that's just sending express packs to the protagonist. It's all old cliches. I took a deep breath to suppress my anger. "I'll handle this. You stay here and recover. Don't interfere." "Thanks, Dad." Shinshiji grinned. I waved him off. "Behave yourself. If you dare pull stunts behind my back, I'll personally take off your other leg." He shrank his neck and promised with an aggrieved face. "Old Lee, go get the doctor in charge of this area." After speaking, I waited quietly. Soon, Li Jun returned with the primary doctor and 2 nurses. "PR President Qin, you were looking for me?" The doctor was shaken, afraid of saying the wrong thing. Without even looking up, I said, "Treat him however he needs to be treated. Don't indulge his ridiculous demands." The doctor nodded frantically, cold sweat on his forehead. He hadn't expected such a powerful father to be so reasonable. "All right, old Lai, let's go." "Hey, wait! Dad, it's her! It's this woman!" Seeing me about to leave, Shinshiji suddenly screamed. I turned back. He was pointing at a small nurse standing next to the doctor. I scanned her. About 160 centimeters tall, white uniform, no mask, curved eyebrows, a sharp little face, and skin as white as fresh milk. This look. Isn't this the female lead template? "Your leg was broken because of her?" I asked flatly, the pressure making people struggle to breathe. Quote, "Yes, Dad, I'd recognize her even if she turned to ash." Shinshiji gnashed his teeth. Tang Shui stood there and sighed softly. She had taken half a day off to go shopping, only to be harassed by this idle-rich second generation. If a young man from out of town hadn't stepped in, she wouldn't have escaped. Who would have thought the villain with the broken leg was this man's son? Even crazier, this man was Xinxian. Since she'd been singled out, Tang Sui stopped hiding. "Ha! What a coincidence to meet here." Shinshiji sneered. "Now that my dad is here, none of you are getting away." "Why should I run? You were the one who started the trouble." Tang Shui straightened her back, not flinching at all. "So what if I started it? Who told him to mind other people's business?" Shinshiji looked disdainful. Tang Shui's face flushed with anger. "Then you deserve to be beaten." "Shut up! Haven't you embarrassed us enough?" I glanced coldly at Shinshiji, my voice low. Although I heard from my son that he got beaten for failed flirting, based on my reading of countless Dragon King novels, I could guess the truth with my toes. I turned to Tang Shu, my tone softening. "Little girl, what is your name?" I'm Tang Shu." She was nervous. As soon as she spoke, she regretted it. Why did he want her name? Was he going to retaliate? I lowered my eyelids and slowly repeated the name, then pinched the bridge of my nose. "The name sounds all right. Don't shake. I handle things with measure. I'm clear about today's mess. You didn't start it, so I won't blame you." "All right, old Lai, let's go." I turned and left with my hands behind my back. In the ward, the group stood dumbfounded. Tunshiji fumed in the back, calling his father a wimp in his heart. Meanwhile, Tang Shui, who had been trembling, stood frozen. The little tyrant of the rumors had a father who was this reasonable? Could he be faking it to settle scores later? Soon I reached the Rolls-Royce. After settling in, I spoke to Li Jun. "Old Li, leave 2 people to watch Shiji. Don't let him go crazy and cause more trouble. Also, investigate that kid who used his fists and Tang Su's family background. Find out everything." Li Jun blinked, then nodded. "Understood, President Qin. I'll arrange it immediately." He pulled out his phone. While he was busy, a cold voice exploded in my ear. "Successfully suppress the rebellious son. Plot deviation occurred. Villain points plus 100. Improved female-led Tang Shu's negative perception of the host. Slight disturbance at the fate line. Villain points plus 300. Recovered 10 points of lost luck. What? Just saying a few words earns points? I opened my attribute panel. Except for the 10 points of luck, everything else was still at a weakling level. System, can these values be raised? The system replied impassively. Luck can only be snatched from the protagonist. When your value is twice theirs, you can directly erase the target. Got it. What about the others? Like physical stats, charm? Host can use villain points to exchange for mall items for self-strengthening. My eyes brightened. I scrolled through the interface. 1000-year Lingji, 500 points. Foundation pill, 1000 points. All legendary stuff, but the prices were scary. I held off for now. It was more cost-effective to save 1000 points for a big lucky draw. President Qin, the kid who did it, is still being investigated, but Tang Shu's side is clear. In a secluded villa at the foot of Mount Li that evening, Li Jun handed over a file. I scanned it quickly. Money really talks! Tang Shui was just an intern doctor with a simple background. As expected, it's him, I muttered. President Qin, is there a problem with Tang Shui? Li Jun was confused. Nothing. It'd be hard for you to understand. I waved him off. Go rest. I'll call you if anything happens. After he left the spacious living room, I slumped on the sofa. So she's one of the female leads. Urban power fantasies never have just one. Records showed Tang Shui's family was a line of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM practitioners. Her grandfather was famous in Quming City. This confirmed it. The male lead was following the mountain village divine doctor route. The classic trope, coming out of the mountains to find relatives, or break an engagement, saving a beauty along the way. No wonder the system gave me a poison physician technique. It was prepping me for a medical showdown. Interesting, I smirked. Just changing her view earned 300 points if I actually won her over. Meanwhile, at Jinghai Hospital, Tang Shu just got off work, feeling drained. Shaolin, go boil some water. Xiao Shui will be here soon. Inside the Tang family's TCM clinic, the old Dr. Tang Dexuan sat in his chair. As Tang Shu parked, she heard her grandfather's unusually warm greeting. Who was visiting? She slowed her pace and peeked inside. Don't trouble yourself. I'm in no hurry. A young man's voice said, casual, yet strangely familiar. Tang Shui's heart jumped. She rushed in. In the living room sat two people. The renowned Tang Dexuan and a casually dressed young man lounging on a rosewood chair like he had no bones. Xiao Shu is home. Come, Grandpa will introduce a friend. This is Ling Feng. Before the old man could finish, their eyes met. It's you! Sister, we really have destiny. Tang Shui was shocked, while Ling Feng smiled playfully. Tang Dexuan looked back and forth, confused. You two already know each other? Tang Shu grabbed her bag and pulled her grandfather to the corner. Grandpa, why is he here? She ignored the introduction and stared at the boy. Xiao Feng is the child of an old benefactor. He came down from the mountain and is staying with us for a few days. Is something wrong? Everything is wrong, Tang Shu explained the morning's events in detail. What? Is this true? Tang Dexuan's beard trembled. This boy actually crippled the Qin family's son? I saw it with my own eyes. Tang Shu pointed at the sofa. The old man looked at Ling Feng, who didn't even blink. No need to ask, I heard everything. Yes, I broke Qin Shiji's leg. What are we gonna do? Tang Dexuan's legs went weak. Xiao Feng, the Qin family is no joke. I'm afraid I can't protect you. Maybe you should leave Quming to hide? Ling Feng scoffed. Old Tang, you worry too much. He's just a spendthrift who only knows how to eat, drink, and gamble. Even if the Qin family is powerful, they can't hurt a hair on me. If they come, I won't involve you. His meaning was clear. The Qin family was beneath his notice. He came down the mountain primarily to find his fiancée from an arranged marriage. He wasn't going to run away because of some trivial matter. Tang Shui was a mess of nerves. She didn't know how strong Ling Feng was, only that this trouble was because of him. If the Qin family followed the trail, the Tang family would be the first to suffer. At 7 p.m. sharp, I stood in the hall of the Mount Li villa and sighed. A huge house all to myself. It felt like guarding a tomb. Suddenly, my phone rang. President Qin, Li Jun's voice came through. The person who hurt the young master has been found. Xiao Lu saw him in Tang Dexuan's clinic, chatting and laughing with the old man. I know. My tone was flat. Should I have Xiao Liu call some more brothers and go grab him? Li Jun asked coldly. No, absolutely not. I stopped him immediately. That guy could flatten bodyguards. He was no ordinary person. More men wouldn't help. I couldn't follow his script. He's hard to deal with. Now call the police immediately. See? Call the police? Li Jun was stunned, his mouth wide open. Yes, report it, I said calmly. We are law-abiding citizens. My son's leg was broken. What's wrong with reporting it? Despite his confusion, Li Jun hung up to comply. On the other side, Director Zhang Zhen was petrified when he got the news. He immediately gathered his team. Quote, Director, what happened? Asked Officer Liu Ruoxi, looking sharp in her uniform. Big news! Qin Tian's son had his leg broken this morning. The suspect is identified. Take a team and grab him. What? Such a thing happened? I'll complete the mission. Liu Ruoxi set out. Meanwhile, a voice popped into my head. Host did not follow the script, disrupting original development. Recovered 30 points of luck. Villain points plus 800. Total points reached. Unlock lucky draw? Draw skill, I thought. Drawing complete. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 years of internal martial arts foundation. I was stunned. In this day and age, someone really practiced internal power? Exactly, host. When the protagonist heals people, he relies on this. Fine. The protagonist is indeed a cheater, I thought, claim. Next moment, a heat wave exploded from my navel, surging through my limbs. Claim successful. Internal strength infusion. Bones plus 20. Spirit plus 5. Vitality plus 30. My muscles twitched. My strength was significantly higher. Most importantly, I wasn't a weakling anymore. Right, my poison study. I remembered. I rang the bell for Butler Feng. Feng Day, in his 50s, appeared. Young master, your orders? I saw his loyalty at 91%. I wrote a list. Get these items ready as soon as possible. The butler's face turned white. Silver needles, centipede venom, scorpion venom, snake fangs. Young master, the needles are fine, but the rest are deadly. Don't ask, I have my uses. He bowed and left. I slumped back. These things were just daily supplies for me now. I felt a bit bored. Let's find some fun. At the same time, police lights flashed outside the Tang family's neighborhood. Ling Feng was heading out when he ran into Liu Ruoxi. His eyes lit up. Beautiful, Ruoxi frowned. She matched the photo exactly. Name? Ling Feng. Beautiful officer. Are you asking me? He was slick, which annoyed her. Someone reported you for intentional injury. Come with us. Ling Feng was stunned. Quote, what? Before he could finish, 2 officers flanked him. Wait, you must be mistaken. He realized something was wrong. Ruoxi didn't give him a chance to argue. In the original script, she, a top-tier beauty, was supposed to appear later. But because I intervened, the timeline was a mess. Ling Feng hadn't built his network yet. He had no one to back him up. He gave up resisting. I'll go myself. What? Ling Feng was taken away? Tang Dexuan almost jumped out of his chair. He and Tang Chu rushed to the station. The news of Ling Feng being taken away traveled faster than the wind, and within minutes, Chief Zhang Zhen caught wind of it. To stabilize the situation, Zhang Zhen immediately called the driver Li Jun. Bored and counting cracks on the ceiling, I perked up instantly upon hearing this. And without a word, I grabbed Li Jun and sped straight to the police station. When the Rolls-Royce door opened, a group of young officers hurried forward to greet me. Hello, Mr. Qin. Hard work, everyone. I waved my hand casually, which stunned the officers. Such a powerful tycoon had no airs at all. Mr. Qin, this way, please. One young officer snapped out of it and immediately led the way. And seeing this, I followed unhurriedly with Li Jun. So you admit you did it? Ling Feng grinned and shrugged his shoulders. What if I don't? I did it, so I'll own it. Liu Ruoxi was gnashing her teeth in anger. This guy clearly acted to save someone, but his methods were ruthlessly excessive, and he behaved as if he didn't care at all. This casual attitude made her blood boil. Just then, I pushed open the interrogation room door and walked in, happening upon this scene. My gaze landed on Liu Ruoxi's face, and in that second, my heart skipped a beat. This policewoman's skin was fair and clean, her face as delicate as a painting, and her figure was curvaceous. Among the police, she was an absolute outlier in terms of beauty. More importantly, she was interrogating the protagonist. Damn, isn't this the standard female lead template? I somehow let the protagonist run into another female lead. Before, I only thought about using Tang Shu to farm villain points. How could I forget the urban novel staple of having a beautiful police officer's sister? If I had known, I wouldn't have called the police even for 10,000 villain points. System, how tough is this kid's destiny? I couldn't help roaring in my heart. Target character scanning. Name, Lin Feng. Luck value, 3,753. Confirmed as the son of fortune. Seeing this, I was speechless. 3,700 plus? I don't even have a fraction of his value. I'm convinced. Completely convinced. Liu Rorshi saw you enter and quickly stood up with her colleagues. You must be Mr. Qin, right? Yes, that's me. I had no desire to deal with Ling Feng and looked directly at Liu Ruoxi. Officer Liu, you should know why I'm here, right? Understood, Liu Roxy replied. Mr. Qin, can we talk somewhere else? No problem. Seeing your quick agreement, Liu Ruoxi breathed a sigh of relief and led you to an office. I wasn't formal either. I pulled out a chair and sat opposite her. Mr. Qin, regarding the incident this morning, we have basically grasped the situation. It started because your son first, Liu Ruoxi, laid out the facts she had gathered. That's roughly how it went. Mr. Qin, how do you think it should be handled? After finishing, Liu Ruoxi peeked at you, seemingly testing your attitude. The room was quiet for a long while before you slowly spoke. The results of your investigation are similar to what I've heard. Don't worry about my reaction. Judge it as it should be judged. I am a law-abiding person and only want justice. As soon as these words came out, Liu Ruoxi was a bit surprised. After all, the mess wasn't huge, and with your background in Qiuming, you could easily suppress it. Thinking of this, Liu Ruoxi said, in my experience, it's best for both parties to sit down and talk. If it can be resolved privately, that's the easiest way. I heard this and let out a laugh. Officer Liu, tell me, how should we talk privately? Do I, as an elder, have to calmly negotiate with a junior about how much money to pay? Liu Ruoxi was stunned. Yes, the man's money was piled like a mountain, so why would he care about Ling Feng's compensation? Fine, don't worry about it. I stood up directly. I'll have my lawyer handle the coordination. Seeing Liu Ruoxi stuck, you simply got up to leave. Thinking about letting someone like Ling Feng squat in a cell for a few days felt interesting. Then that's all for now. I have things to do, so I won't stay. Sorry for the trouble today. I reached out my hand with a polite tone. No trouble. It's our duty. Liu Ruoxi was a bit dazed and instinctively reached out to shake it. In that moment, I only felt her hand was cool and soft. Truly strange. Watching you lead the driver out of the station, Liu Ruoxi looked bewildered. Logically, since the other party knew Lin Feng was caught, shouldn't the first move be using connections to apply pressure? Why come personally to the interrogation room? Lin Feng had originally prepared to go head-to-head with you, but when you came, you didn't even look at him. In that moment, Lin Feng almost couldn't catch his breath. HMPH, one day I'll make your whole Qin family kneel and beg me. A man can stand anything except being ignored, and this completely triggered his ruthlessness. Outside the police station, before you left, an unremarkable Buick sedan slowly parked nearby. Two people got out, one of whom you recognized. Yo, little girl, our fate is deep enough that we even meet at the police station. You weren't in a hurry to get in the car and instead walked toward them with a smile. Mr. Qin, hello. Once Tang Shu saw it was you, her face changed instantly and she began to stutter. Why look at me as if you've seen a ghost? You narrowed your eyes with a playful tone. Old Tang Dexuan greets President Qin. Tang Shu was speechless. So Tang Dexuan quickly stepped forward with a smile. Tang Dexuan? I chuckled. I know you're a famous TCM doctor in Qiuming. I heard your medical skills are quite remarkable. President Qin overpraises me. Tang Dexuan hurriedly lowered his head. There's no overpraising. I've heard of your name long ago. By the way, old gentleman, why are you here? Your question was purely rhetorical. But it made the old man's heart tighten. He didn't believe for a second that you didn't know Ling Feng was connected to him. In other words, the other party was testing his attitude. Old Tang had been around a long time and understood social graces perfectly. Immediately realizing the situation, he spoke up. Mr. Qin, I'm truly sorry. I only heard at night that the young lad Lin had a dispute with Master Qin. Young Lin just arrived in Qiuming and is unfamiliar with the place. An impulsive moment is inevitable. I hope you, as a great person, can show mercy and let him go once. Tang Dexuan was indeed a character. These words held several layers of meaning. First, saying he only found out at night cleared himself of being an accomplice. Then saying Lin Feng just arrived hinted that the relationship wasn't deep, just an old acquaintance. He was clearly asking for a favor, yet he appeared humble, as if submitting. It drew a line and avoided offending either side. 3 birds with 1 stone. I laughed. Old Mr. Tang, I don't understand your words. I, Qin Tian, am just a dutiful businessman. Since I was beaten this time, all I can do is call the police. You ask me to show mercy, but as a law-abiding citizen, where do I get the right to interfere in public affairs? But you needn't worry. Whoever is at fault will bear it. This matter started with my son, so I won't wrong anyone, nor will I take my anger out on others. As for the dispute between my son and that Lin Feng, I believe the police comrades will handle it fairly, don't you agree? Tang Dexuan was left speechless by your words. Seeing this, I waved my hand and suggested, Fine, I have things to do, take your time. After speaking, you nodded to him, turned, and got into the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. The action was crisp and left no room for argument. Only no one saw the cold sneer that rose on the corner of your mouth before you closed the door. Wanting to turn big things into small and small into nothing? Old Tang was too naive. Having finally sent this guy in, how could I easily let him out? Old Li, call Deng Zhongchu, hand this case to him, and find a way to send this kid inside. Understood, President Qin. Although Old Lai was confused as to why the boss insisted on using official procedures, the message was quickly sent to Deng Junchu. After hearing the story, he slapped his thigh and said, Lin Feng is definitely going to the big house this time. Although it was wrong for Qin Shiji to move first, Lin Feng's combo was too ruthless. Someone just swings a fist, and you turn around and kick them several meters away? Beating his bodyguards wasn't enough. You had to go up and forcibly crush Qin Shiji's shin bone? This finishing move clearly left no way out. The evidence was right there, every point striking a nerve. If he still couldn't be sent to prison, then he really shouldn't be in this business. You returned home at 9 p.m., and before your butt touched the sofa. The doorbell rang. Then Butler Feng's voice drifted over. Young master, Miss Mu has arrived. Hearing this, I frowned. Bring her in. Mu Dai stepped inside with crisp movements. She was Qin Tian's private secretary, named Murong Dai, but usually called Mu Dai. Her black hair was tied in a bun, wearing black framed glasses, a white shirt with a black skirt, silk stockings, and high heels. She walked with the wind! She stood in the living room with a respectful tone. I scanned her and gave a flat, saying, sit down. The original host had some female confidants after his wife left, but Mu Dai was never one of them. Was she not beautiful enough? No. The key was that this woman was capable. The company couldn't do without her, no matter how arrogant. Qin Tian was. He wouldn't destroy such a pillar for temporary pleasure. President Qin, I'll go over tomorrow's routine and recent work with you. I nodded. The high-level meeting originally scheduled for today was postponed because of the young master's matter. It's moved to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Also, President Su of the Su Group has an appointment to have dinner with you at 5 p.m. tomorrow at the Dihao Hotel to discuss the details of cooperation between the Qin and Su families. This is the itinerary. Do you want to take a look? She said, handing over a paper. I waved it off. No need, just arrange it properly. Okay, President Qin. Here is also the project data for the Xicheng real estate. Next, she spoke about work progress for about an hour before leaving, and I finally ended my first day of CEO life after traveling through time, early the next morning. I appeared at the company on time, ready to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, Lin Feng had spent a night at the police station. Hearing he might go to jail, he was stunned on the spot. Deng Junchu arrived early in the morning and announced his 2 charges, excessive defense and intentional injury. Combined, it would be at least 2 or 3 years. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold, and a blood feud against the Qin family was marked in his heart. But hate as he might, he couldn't think of a way out. Little brother Lin, I'm truly sorry. Tang Dexuan was full of guilt. This really isn't your fault. I just didn't see the situation clearly. Lin Feng spoke lightly, but he was unhappy in his heart. The Qin family wants me to go to jail? No way! As soon as the words left his mouth, His mind whirred through several options. Seeing a shift in Lin Feng's eyes, Tang Dexuan immediately responded. "Little brother Lin, as long as you say it, I, Tang Dexuan, will never refuse." Lin Feng snapped back and smiled. "There really is something I need you to do." Tang Dexuan raised an eyebrow in surprise. Before he could ask, Lin Feng reached out and untied a jade pendant from his neck. "Help me give this thing to someone." Ding! Successfully accused the protagonist. Minor plot adjustment in effect. Villain points plus 300, reclaimed luck value 20 points. I glanced at the system prompt and frowned slightly. Only 300? Making a call to the police earned 800 points. This time, using a lawyer only gave this much? I shook my head and didn't bother to dwell on it. Anyway, these things weren't under my control. Just keep moving forward. At this time, you were walking toward the company with the beautiful secretary Mu Dai. You walked with a stern face, eyes forward, while Mu Dai walked beside you holding a file bag, constantly reporting the matters to be handled at today's meeting. While speaking, she would occasionally peek at the man beside her, upright build, a face with ruthlessness yet composure, unlike any man she had seen before. In her heart, this was the perfect male template. Unfortunately, her own background was ordinary, 10,000 miles away from such a top tycoon. That affection could only be suppressed in her heart, not even dared to be dreamed of. "Yo, second brother, you're finally here!" On the 88th floor of the Qin headquarters. The elevator opened to a man in a suit standing at the meeting room door. His hair was slicked back, and he greeted with a grin. The Qin family had 4 children, all very different. The eldest, Qin Zheng, served in the army for over 10 years. He had a quiet temper, didn't like business, and managed a few star hotels for peace. The third, Qin Wu, was true to his name, obsessed with martial arts all day, with a fiery personality, managing gyms, martial arts halls, and nightclubs. The fourth sister, Qin Yuan, was a powerful woman who returned from a top foreign university with a master's degree, managing all the family's female consumer brands with efficiency. And I was the second, with incredible business talent since childhood. The old man handed all the core industries to me. Now someone might ask, wouldn't the other siblings be jealous? It's absolutely impossible. According to novel tropes, villain families all have one common trait. They are united like an iron bucket. Hit one and the whole family comes out. Injure one and the whole clan gets angry. That's just standard configuration. "Third brother, why are you here?" "To give you a wedding invitation." Qin Wu casually pulled out a gold-stamped card. "I'm getting married in half a month." "Second brother, you must be there. I wanted to save it for the family dinner, but I was afraid you'd forget." "Married?" I was slightly stunned. "So suddenly?" "How is it sudden? I'm 38. Is getting married considered rushed?" Qin Wu grinned, completely unconcerned. "All right, second brother, you need to work harder too." Saying this, his gaze shifted to Mu Dai beside you. "I'm waiting to drink wedding wine from you and Miss Mu." I was stunned on the spot. My face blank! Mu Dai's face flushed red instantly, her ears almost smoking. Quote, "Can you be serious?" I snapped back and glared at him. This guy was nearly 40 and still spent all day teasing me. Qin Wu laughed and slapped the table, feeling great. The two chatted for a bit more before Qin Wu shoved the wedding invitation into your hand and left without even eating. Once Qin Wu left, the high-level routine meeting of the Qin group began immediately. The table was full of people, all core company members. Seeing the group below listening quietly to me, I felt a sense of fulfillment. The meeting had no complex procedures, just which plot of land was stuck in approval, which project needed additional investment, or which relationship needed greasing. With the original host's memory and Mu Dai's help to fill the gaps, handling these things was smooth. But what I didn't notice was that since Qin Wu's mention, Mu Dai would occasionally peek at him through her glasses during the meeting. At 3 p.m., at the Su Mansion in Qiuming, the head of the family, Su Zhenyang, stood in the living room with a deep frown, looking at his old father on the sofa with confusion. "Dad, what is the background of this jade pendant's owner? Is it really worth it? Offending the Qin family for him?" "Whether it's worth it isn't for me to say." Old Master Su slowly flipped the jade pendant in his hand. The thing had a strange shape, and he couldn't see the trick. His voice was low but unquestionable. "This is a promise I made back then. Escaping for my life in a chaotic world, the enemies chased me to a dead end, and he saved my life." But even so, you can't take it upon yourself to let Yanran marry a young brat. Su Zhengyang sighed. If Yanran found out, wouldn't she throw a fit? What's there to fit about? The old man snorted. Being the fiancé of that man's disciple is her fortune. Others couldn't even beg for such a good thing. What does she have to complain about? Grandpa, Dad, what are you talking about? A clear and beautiful voice suddenly sounded, breaking the argument. A figure in a light blue dress walked in gracefully. Su Yanran, Su Zhengyang's only daughter. 24 years old, 1.65 meters tall, with straight black hair falling naturally over her shoulders. Paired with that cold, flawless face, she was so beautiful one couldn't look away. Yanran, why are you here? Looking at Su Yanran at the door, Su Zhengyang froze, his face feeling a bit hot. What he and the old man were saying was something he hadn't mentioned to her at all. I left a document here, just came back to get it. Su Yanran spoke flatly, her gaze turning to her father. Dad, I just heard you say something about a fiancé. This sounds strange. Su Zhengyang felt even more uneasy, unconsciously rubbing his pants. Sigh, you can hide for a while, but not forever. Since she heard it, just come clean. Old Master Su waved his hand, his tone quite stiff. Arranging a childhood marriage with an ice beauty is a cliché plot, but according to the rules, this cold female CEO definitely wouldn't buy it. Next, the old man would have the protagonist work in the company, arranged as a driver or personal bodyguard. Then, the protagonist, relying on his skills, would save her from danger several times, and the iceberg would naturally melt into a hot spring. Sure enough, once Su Yanran heard about this, she was instantly furious. I won't marry! After speaking, she grabbed the files and turned to leave. The door slamming with a bang! Old Master Su sighed, and Su Zhengyang could only shake his head with a bitter smile. However, the old man knew in his heart that after some time, his granddaughter would surely be won over by that boy. Xiaodi, how much liquid cash is currently on the company's books? Talking business over a meal is common for many, so the meeting between the Qin and Su families was set by Mu Dai for 5 p.m., around 6 billion. I rubbed my chin and nodded. Enough. Does President Qin need money? If needed, I can allocate it now. No, just asking casually. Go prepare for the meeting in a bit. For the current you, guarding the family business was enough. Why bother with other ventures? No matter how fast other businesses were, they couldn't be faster than trapping the protagonist at 5 p.m. I took Mu Dai straight to the Dihao Hotel. Just as we arrived at the door, a man in a suit hurried forward. Hello, President Qin. I'm the manager here, surname Gong. President Su is already waiting for you in the private room. Lead the way. Walking through the corridor. The group soon arrived at the Tianzhao private room. Haha, President Qin is here. Please come in, please come in. Hello, Uncle Qin. Yo, isn't this the Yanran girl? I scanned her and thought, oh my, you've grown so tall, let me give you a hug. These words almost slipped out, but luckily you reacted quickly and swallowed them back. Both families were top tycoons in Qiuming and naturally knew each other. The relationship wasn't iron, but it wasn't bad either. The Su family's main business was home appliance manufacturing, which was famous in the industry. This joint effort was over a plot of land that was a bit messy. The Su family didn't touch real estate, and their money was basically tied up in appliances. But they had wide connections, so the Qin and Su families planned to get that land and let the Qin family develop it. The Su family wouldn't put up money, only take dividends. Besides the driver and bodyguard, the Su family brought 3 people: Su Zhengyang, his daughter Su Yanran, and a female secretary. When I first saw Su Yanran, I was stunned for a moment. This girl was truly impeccable, strikingly beautiful, but her gaze was as cold as a winter lake. A typical high-cold boss vibe. Previously there was a weak nurse, a hot-tempered policewoman, and now an ice beauty. Could she be one of the female leads too? Before a female lead's relationship with the protagonist is in place, luck won't shift to the villain. She looks just like an ordinary person. So you couldn't directly measure who the female lead was and could only guess. Currently Su Yanran looked the part, but you didn't dare guarantee it. The 2 bosses greeted each other politely, while those truly discussing details were Mu Dai and the secretary named Li Yutong. President Qin, I heard your son had a conflict with someone yesterday and went to the hospital. Is this true? Before the food was even touched, Su Zhengyang spoke to test the waters. Yes, such a thing did happen. My son was indeed in the wrong first, but the other party was too ruthless and struck a vital spot. I couldn't bear it and have already called the police. The person is in the station now. Female lead Su Yanran has changed her view of the host. Villain points plus 100, luck value plus 10. I raised an eyebrow thinking, what's going on? Just a few words and the impression changed? I instinctively looked at Su Yanran beside me, and unexpectedly she was also looking. Our eyes met, and strangely, Su Yanran's face actually turned slightly red. She seemed to realize something was off and quickly spoke to smooth things over. Uncle Chin. I used to hear people say you protected your son especially much and let him do whatever he wanted. Looking at it today, those words are purely rumors. Haha, Yanran girl, you really know how to flatter, I laughed. But you're actually a bit wrong. The rumors you mentioned aren't entirely false. At this point, my expression became serious. In the early years, I only cared about my career and had no time for the kids. More than half of Shiji's current temper was spoiled by me. But in recent years, I've also come around. I'll definitely discipline him strictly in the future and not let him cause such trouble again. I spoke sincerely while wondering if this wave could harvest more villain points. As a result, not only was Su Yanran surprised, but even her father, Su Jingyang, was slightly stunned. Even Mu Dai, who was chatting with the other secretary, turned her head to look at you. Ding! Successfully reversed the female lead Su Yanran's perception of the host. Villain points plus 300, luck value plus 20 points. Ding! Successfully reversed key figure Su Zhengyang's perception of the host. Villain points plus 200, luck value plus 10. Villain points have reached the requirement for a lucky draw. Do you wish to draw immediately? I can actually draw? Wait! Su Zhengyang counts as one too? What kind of status does he have? Your heart jolted as the words key figure in the system made everything clear. He's likely the type of character who, in the original plot, would have helped Lin Feng. Even for key figures like this, as long as I change their perception of me, they can feed me back resources. Thinking of this, I almost hammered the table. If I'd known, I would have dealt with Tang Dex 1 a few more times. Extraction of ability successful. Martial arts skill level max. You had long wanted to find a way to enhance your strength, and upon seeing the martial arts skill, you didn't even blink. After confirming on the spot and receiving the max level martial arts skill, a lot of things suddenly flooded into your head. The current you is much stronger than back when you only knew how to blindly accumulate internal energy. President Qin, what life philosophy have you gained lately? We haven't met for so long, and your temperament is different. Su Zhenyang took the wine just brought by the waiter and personally poured you a glass of Romanée Conti. Seeing this, I raised my hand and took it without any hesitation. The two took a small sip and chatted for a bit. Once all the dishes were served, Su Zhengyang finally put down his fork and shifted his tone. To be honest, President Qin, besides discussing cooperation today, I have a small request. I'd like to ask you for a favor. As soon as these words came out, I already knew what was coming. Speak directly. I hate beating around the bush. Su Zhenyang was actually stunned. Haha! Since you're so straightforward, I won't hide it. To be honest, that Ling Feng who had a conflict with your son yesterday has some connection with my Su family. As he spoke, he peeked at your face. Seeing that you didn't have much of a reaction, he continued, Could I ask you to let it go? Don't pursue it further, so that child can avoid the disaster of prison. Sure enough, he came for Ling Feng. Although the system rewards had already hinted that Su Zhengyang was a key figure, I didn't expect this guy would personally lower his head and beg me just to protect Lin Feng. How many days has that Lin Feng even been in Qiuming? How did he climb the big tree of the Su family so quickly? Typical protagonist destiny, he has a backer wherever he goes, and his luck is incredibly tough. If it were the old Qin Tian, he might have been swayed by these words. You pretended to ponder for a few seconds before slowly speaking. To be honest, President Su, I really didn't know that kid had such a deep background, or that he was connected to your Su family. Actually, my son started the trouble yesterday. I originally wanted him to suffer a bit to learn a lesson, but Lin Feng's hand was too heavy, so I had to take the legal route. Su Zhenyang was stunned. Then your meaning is? President Su has already said this much. If I don't nod, wouldn't I be disrespecting you? Forget about compensation. I'm not short on that bit of money. You have him personally come and apologize to me, and this matter will be over. President Su, do you think this works? Su Zhengyang was immediately overjoyed and quickly agreed. Based on his previous understanding of you, you would either open your mouth wide for a huge bribe or flip out on the spot to protect your child, tearing the relationship apart. Regardless of which, the Su and Qin families would hold a grudge. But who could have thought all it took now was an apology? Who wouldn't agree to such a good thing? But Su Zhengyang didn't realize at all that this matter wasn't as simple as it looked on the surface. For starters, the single condition of making Lin Feng bow his head and admit fault is an almost impossible task. Have you ever seen a protagonist in a novel apologize to a villain? If the protagonist were that cowardly, the fans would be the first to complain. Su Zhengyang, overjoyed, immediately took out his phone to call. Go to the police station and pick up Lin Feng quickly. Just say the matter is resolved. And you were also crisp and decisive, turning around to call Li Jun, telling him to notify Deng Junqiu to stop investigating the case. With one word from you, Deng Junqiu immediately called off the team and left. Liu Ruexi at the police station could finally breathe a sigh of relief. She had been worried that the Qin family would be relentless, which would make the investigators live a headache every day. At this moment, by the entrance of the police station, Lin Feng walked out slowly with a relaxed face. The jade pendant that old man gave me before leaving is quite useful. The Qin family is just like that. Let's go, President Su is waiting at the Dihao Hotel, the driver reminded with a cold face. All right, coming, Lin Feng answered with a smile. Before leaving, he looked back at the station entrance, feeling a bit of regret that he didn't get to act cool in front of Liu Ruoxi, but this wasn't important right now. Meeting his fiancée was the real business. Half an hour later at the Dihao Hotel, you all had already finished your meal and were chatting idly in the air conditioning. Lin Feng, led by the driver, pushed the door open. As soon as he entered, his eyes scanned the room. Not one of the beauties was missing. However, when his gaze landed on Su Yanran, he immediately had the answer. He really didn't expect such a beautiful woman would be his fiancée. My God, this face isn't losing at all to Murong. Die by Qin Tian's side. This trip down the mountain was worth it. You are Ling Feng? Seeing the person enter, Su Zhengyang immediately put on the airs of an elder. Ling Feng bowed slightly with a respectful attitude. Greetings, Uncle Su. Seeing that the kid recognized people and knew his manners, Su Zhengyang nodded with great satisfaction. He pointed to the empty seat beside him. Sit down. Lin Feng didn't decline and sat right down. First of all, let me introduce you. This is President Qin. You should have met. Met? Of course we've met. Lin Feng curled his lip with a bit of sarcasm. If his son didn't lack eyes, would I have been locked in a cell? As soon as these words came out, everyone's face changed except yours, including Su Yanran and Murong Dai. Is this guy mentally disabled? He dares to call Qin Qian's son trash in front of two tycoons? This isn't just slapping Qin Tian's face. It's hitting Su Zhengyang's face too. Su Zhengyang glanced at you and found you hadn't flared up yet, so he hurriedly stepped in to fix it. Lin Feng, do you know what nonsense you're saying? Lin Feng sensed the atmosphere was wrong, but still didn't retract his words. Uncle Su, I certainly know what I'm saying. His son acted like a hooligan in public and wanted to hit me, walking tall just because he has bodyguards. If I hadn't reacted quickly, I'd be the one lying in the hospital. This time, before you could even speak, Su Zhengyang slapped the table and stood up. You are truly lawless. Is the young master of the Qin family someone for you to criticize here? Now, go and apologize to President Qin immediately, or I, Su Zhengyang, will tear my face off today and no one will have a good ending. Seeing Ling Feng's arrogant look, Su Yanran frowned, and her heart went half cold. She couldn't help but peek at you. Compared to a hothead like Lin Feng, Uncle Qin sitting there without speaking seemed stable and reliable. This is the kind of man who can handle a scene. Lin Feng looked at Qin Tian with disdain. Sorry, Uncle Su, I'll remember your favor this time. But as for making me bow my head and admit fault, I can't do it. The words were hard as stone, leaving no room for maneuver. You bastard, you're simply lawless. I really shouldn't have begged President Qin to let you go. Su Zhengyang's voice trembled with anger, and he even blurted out a curse. Lin Feng frowned upon hearing this. Uncle Su, you shouldn't have lowered your head to beg him at all. With my skills, it wouldn't even be hard to help you swallow the Qin family. Before Su Zhengyang could speak after hearing this, his head spun and he fell straight backward. "Dad, what's wrong with you?" Su Yanran, being the closest, was the first to react. You, who had been watching the play, were also startled. Without time to think, you stepped forward to help support him. Lin Feng, seeing Su Zhengyang fall, didn't panic. Instead, a light flashed in his eyes. The chance is here. As long as I cure the person, all previous troubles can be wiped out. A protagonist's luck is just that uncanny. The more desperate the situation, the more they can flip the script. Just as the bodyguards reached out to carry the person to the hospital, Lin Feng suddenly spoke. "Wait a minute, let me take a look." Hearing this, Su Yanran turned her head, and seeing it was him, her tone was cold as ice. "Bodyguards, drag him out." "I don't want to see this face again." Two bodyguards moved instantly, closing in on Lin Feng from both sides. Lin Feng saw the situation was bad and quickly shouted, "I am a doctor. Uncle Su is having a sudden acute illness. If we don't act now, the person will be cold by the time we reach the hospital." As soon as Lin Feng said this, Su Yanran was stunned. Although her father fainting was somewhat related to Lin Feng and she was sick of the guy, what he said wasn't without reason. The hospital was at least 15 minutes away at the closest, and if they hit traffic, they might not arrive even in half an hour. Seeing Lin Feng speak so decisively, as if not lying, Su Yanran's heart began to waver, just as she was about to nod in agreement. A steady voice suddenly came from the side. "Yanran girl, don't believe him." Su Yanran looked up sharply and found you were already ordering the bodyguards to lay Su Zhengyang flat. One hand on his pulse without even raising your brow. Your father was angered to this state by him, and now you're letting him save him? Besides, look at his 20-something appearance. What kind of doctor could he be? Su Yanran immediately snapped back to reality. "But Uncle Chen, we can't just wait now, can we?" Hearing this, you waved your hand, your finger still pressed on Su Zhengyang's wrist. "Don't worry, I'm here." After speaking, you leaned over to check his breathing, and then began unbuttoning Su Zhengyang's shirt. Lin Feng was furious and roared out, "Qin Tian, you're taking the opportunity for revenge. If the treatment time is delayed, you'll be a murderer." Right now was his only chance to flip the script, but when that chance was forcibly cut off, how could he not be anxious? "Shut up," you barked, having no time to deal with him. After confirming the weak heartbeat, you quickly laid the person flat and began chest compressions. Everyone was stunned by this scene. The high and mighty President Qin actually knew first aid. Lin Feng, who was gnashing his teeth and preparing to continue cursing, also froze after seeing the movements. This technique was too standard. The rhythm, strength, and position were all flawless. Even if he did it himself, it would only be like this. "Back off a bit. Don't crowd so tightly. Leave some air," Qin Tian ordered while compressing, his tone unquestionable. "Quick, everyone move back." Su Yanran didn't have time to think, and quickly complied. Su Yanran stood by with clenched fists, her heart fluctuating with every compression. Fortunately, the wait wasn't long. With you secretly using energy to assist, Su Zhengyang on the ground suddenly twitched, and his chest had a weak pulse. Seeing this, Su Yanran cried out in joy, "Uncle Qin, my dad's heartbeat is back." Qin Tian nodded and pressed a few more times before stopping and standing up. Your father's heart already had hidden issues. His emotions were excited just now, and his breath didn't catch. Now it's stable. Just have someone carry him to the sofa to rest. Su Yanran, seeing her father's condition restored to normal, looked at you gratefully. "Uncle Qin, thank you. I didn't expect you to know this. You're amazing." You smiled faintly and moved your wrists and shoulders. "Just a small trick, it's nothing." At this time, Murong Dai walked up quietly and handed over a tissue. "President, wipe your sweat." You took the tissue to wipe your forehead and looked around in confusion. Where did that Lin Feng kid go? At this moment, the system sounded again. Congratulations to the host for saving the key figure before the protagonist. Villain points +1, 500. Reclaimed 500 luck points. The villain points met the criteria. Triggering the system ability extraction. Do you wish to use it immediately? Nothing to save for. You chose to draw. Extraction successful. Choose one of two options. 1. Play piano like a master. Skill level capped. 2. Dance like a top professional. Rhythm sense maximized. The two skills given this time were, to be honest, a bit useless. Playing piano and dancing are nonsense, completely unusable. So you randomly picked the piano, which looked more like it could be used for show, just in case you need to act cool later. Dad, wake up! About a minute later, Su Zhenyang, who had been carried to the sofa by several bodyguards, slowly opened his eyes. The just awakened Su Zhenyang was still a bit dazed. What happened to me just now? Dad, you suddenly lost consciousness. It was Uncle Chin who saved you. Su Yanran quickly explained. As his memory pieced back together, the look in Su Zhenyang's eyes as he looked at you became increasingly shocked. Later, Su Zhenyang was still sent to the hospital. Although he had recovered, his status made a checkup necessary for peace of mind. Naturally, his daughter Su Yanran had to follow. Before leaving, she specifically found you to apologize. After all, they were the ones who begged to release Lin Feng. Little did she know, you were already overjoyed. With this scene just now, you didn't just get a handful of villain points and luck. Su Zhenyang even made a decision on the spot to give up 10% profit in the cooperation project as a token of gratitude. Don't look down on this 1/10. With the resources the two families could move, this deal's pure profit alone exceeded 5 billion at the base. 10% is 500 million. The only thing that was annoying was that Lin Feng kid was gone. You had planned to use the Su family's hand to teach him a lesson. But the plan fell through, making you feel quite unhappy. But you also understood that to deal with this kind of son of fortune, you had to take it slowly. Meanwhile, Lin Feng had indeed run away. Once he saw he had caused a disaster and personally witnessed your standard of standards CPR, he immediately realized things were bad. But after running out, the more he thought, the more things felt wrong. The events of the last 2 days flashed in his mind, and he felt something was off somewhere. Especially since you didn't act according to logic at all. Now that the Su family route was completely cut off, the Tang family probably wasn't much better. Now he must change his name and completely vanish from the Qin family's vision. Only then would there be a chance to flip the script. With the thought settled, Lin Feng already had a direction. Kid, hand over the money. Just as he was thinking, 2 yellow-haired punks suddenly appeared and blocked his path, each with a bright dagger in hand, clearly up to no good. Perfect. You walked right into it. The next second, one scream after another came from the alley. On the other side, in the Rolls Royce, Murong Dai secretly observed the boss, who had his eyes closed. Qin Tian's small emotions were brewing more and more. She had really seen something new. Other rich people either count money, play golf, or socialize all day. Her boss actually knew such standard first aid. And back when he was doing CPR on Su Zhenyang, that focused look almost made her heart stop. Boldly play some music, let's relax. You suddenly spoke, causing Murong Dai to withdraw her gaze instantly and pretend to look out the window. The music started, and you closed your eyes again. Right now your brain was whirring. From Su Zhenyang's reaction just now, you could guess that Lin Feng had no relationship with him. The one who truly made the connection was the Su family's old master, Su Guofu. That is to say, as long as the old man still protected Lin Feng, the Su family was unlikely to cause him trouble over this. This kid is a bit tricky, you muttered in a low voice. Lin Feng has now hidden in the dark. It's become him in the dark and you in the light. This situation won't do. Thinking of this, you opened your eyes and spoke again. Old Li, after we go back, arrange a few people to track down Lin Feng's whereabouts. Remember, don't get too close, and absolutely no fighting. Report as soon as there's news. After speaking, you didn't forget to frown and say, Old Li, what kind of song are you listening to here? Change it, change it. You didn't know if it was because you just got the top piano skill that your ears had become picky. Li Jun was dazed. You said change the song, but there are only 2 or 3 stored in the car, and you don't usually listen. I just picked one randomly. Seeing this, Mudai asked curiously, President Qin, do you want to listen to a song? It's not that I have to listen, I just suddenly felt the road was too quiet. Mudai reacted immediately. How about I search with my phone and stream it via Bluetooth? That way, you can have whatever you want. Qin Tian's eyes lit up, suddenly thinking of something. Fine, then get 1,000 reasons for heartbreak. Otherwise, it's boring to be moping all the way. This was an old song from years ago, but you liked this specific one. Mudai was bewildered. The name sounded like it was made up. After searching for a long time, there was no President Qin, as you said. I couldn't find it. I must have remembered the song name wrong, right? Hearing this, your brow twitched, vaguely sensing something was wrong. Then search for Zhang Xuewu. Is Zhang Xuewu a singer? Although Mu Die was confused, she did as told. Unfortunately, there was still nothing. Qin Tian's face darkened slightly, and he took the pink phone from Mu Dai's hand. Doing it yourself, you quickly typed in the names of the 4 heavenly kings from your previous life. All were entered. Finally, you slowly leaned back against the seat and gave a light sigh. Now you completely understood. It turns out you were reborn into a parallel universe. Although the general direction was similar to your previous life, many famous stars, actors, and such didn't exist. This kid is a bit tricky, you muttered in a low voice. Lin Feng has now hidden in the dark. It's become him in the dark and you in the light. This situation won't do. Thinking of this, you opened your eyes and spoke again. Old Li, after we go back, arrange a few people to track down Lin Feng's whereabouts. Remember, don't get too close, and absolutely no fighting. Report as soon as there's news. After speaking, you didn't forget to frown and say, Old Li, what kind of song are you listening to here? Change it, change it. You didn't know if it was because you just got the top piano skill that your ears had become picky. Li Jun was dazed. You said change the song? But there are only 2 or 3 stored in the car and you don't usually listen. I just picked one randomly. Seeing this, Mu Dai asked curiously, President Qin, do you want to listen to a song? It's not that I have to listen, I just suddenly felt the road was too quiet. Mu Dai reacted immediately. How about I search with my phone and stream it via Bluetooth? That way you can have whatever you want. Qin Tian's eyes lit up, suddenly thinking of something. Fine, then get 1,000 reasons for heartbreak, otherwise it's boring to be moping all the way. This was an old song from years ago, but you liked this specific one. Mu Dai was bewildered. The name sounded like it was made up. After searching for a long time, there was no President Qin, as you said. I couldn't find it. I must have remembered the song name wrong, right? Hearing this, your brow twitched, vaguely sensing something was wrong. Then search for Zhang Xuewu. Is Zhang Xuewu a singer? Although Mu Dai was confused, she did as told. Unfortunately, there was still nothing. Qin Tian's face darkened slightly, and she took the pink phone from Mu Dai's hand. Doing it yourself, you quickly typed in the names of the 4 heavenly kings from your previous life. All were entered. Finally, you slowly leaned back against the seat and gave a light sigh. Now you completely understood. It turns out you were reborn into a parallel universe. Although the general direction was similar to your previous life, many famous stars, actors, and such didn't exist. You waved your hand and said with some fatigue, Forget it, I won't listen. It's tiring to hear. I can't even see the 4 heavenly kings or Jay Chou, so what's the point? Without those classic songs heard and hummed back in the day, your heart felt blocked for a moment. But even more frustrated than you was old Master Su. Having just heard that his biological son actually fainted from being angered by Ling Feng, old Master Su immediately had the driver prepare the car to head straight to the hospital. As soon as he entered, he chased down the causes and effects without any ambiguity. You really proposed that condition to Qin Tian? Su Zhengyang's voice from the bed was low. The talk was going fine, and Qin Tian agreed without a word. But who would have thought that kid called Lin Feng would suddenly jump out and start cursing in front of Qin Tian? Tell me as an elder, could I pretend nothing happened? And the result is what you see now. He exhaled a breath of frustration from his chest, his fists clenching and unclenching for fear of getting angry again while speaking. Old Master Su heard this, and his eyes lit up slightly, as if realizing something. Hearing you say this Lin Feng really looks a bit like his master in his younger days. Hearing this, Su Xiangyang's eyes almost popped out. Old man, have you been influenced by someone? Is your memory slowly vanishing? People with skill often have stranger tempers. It's normal, the old man said steadily, continuing to mutter to himself. He was willing to stand up for a stranger, which shows his heart is warm enough. He dared to scold Qin Tian's son under his nose, which shows his bones are tough enough. Only such a person is worthy of Yanran. Dad, wake up! Su Zhengyang snapped back, full of disbelief. He felt that the one lying on the hospital bed shouldn't be him, but rather this old man. If you knew about the old man's words, you would only mutter in your heart, normal. After all, how could a mere mortal resist the manipulation of heaven's luck? The next day, you arrived at the company early in the morning, sitting behind the desk, idly spinning a pen. Your thoughts already drifted far away. You didn't know how you ended up in this world. The most important thing was that you spent all day figuring out how to prevent the protagonist from stealing the limelight, and the days of enjoyment were all delayed. Thinking of this, you got annoyed and immediately called Li Jun. Haven't found Lin Feng yet. You now clearly remember that Lin Feng's luck value is around 200, while you are only a bit over 700. If the gap is this big, you might be overtaken any day. Upon hearing that Li Jun had made no progress, you decisively gave him 2 tips. You have them check the surveillance in hotels and police stations now. Additionally, keep a close eye on parks, bars, and KTVs. These places are where protagonists love to hang out most. Parks are easy to run into mysterious old men giving out fortuitous encounters, and bars or KTVs are for either saving people or fighting. The plot always explodes there. Fans who have watched my videos know this by heart. Although Li Jun couldn't figure out why those places had to be guarded, an order was an order, and he just had to comply. Hanging up the phone, you narrowed your eyes to ponder the next step. According to intelligence, Ling Feng did leave the Tang family, but the old man likely gave him some money. Otherwise, with his platform just starting, where would he get the confidence to not worry about food and drink? Since the Tang family loves being the Good Samaritan, why should I be polite? Saying this, you picked up the phone again and dialed a special number. President Qin looking for me? On the other end was a sweet-voiced girl. You went straight to the point. I want someone with an unfamiliar face. Combat power doesn't matter. The key is they must know how to change faces. 1 million a month. This bit of money was a non-issue for you, and the person agreed immediately. At the moment that million hit the account, before the owner of the unknown account could react, the fate of the Tang family was already sealed. At 6 p.m., in the large villa at Lishan, young master, the things you wanted have arrived. Butler Feng bowed his head with a very respectful tone. 2 maids stood behind him, each pushing a small cart filled to the brim. There were only 2 sets of silver needle bags. The rest were small bottles and large jars with labels, multicolored like a pharmacy moved to the scene. You answered, "Make a room downstairs. These will be kept there from now on." After they finished their work, you stood alone in the center of the empty living room, feeling quite annoyed. Your previous messy lovers had been crisply blocked by you. Now, if you wanted to find someone for a date, you could only choose from the girls you met after traveling through time, preferably those with the female lead's destiny. They could both keep you company and make you stronger. But currently, there were only 3 female leads you could connect with: Nurse Tang Shui, policewoman Liu Roxi, and the high, cold boss Su Yanran. These women hadn't even spoken more than a few words with him. Rashly flirting could easily mess things up. As for Mudai, this woman was likely not a female lead template, and she's been working overtime every day lately. Better not bother her. You flipped through the contacts for a long time and didn't find a suitable person, so you simply changed into ordinary clothes to go out and catch some air. Meanwhile, in the monitoring room of the Blue Big Bar, a young man in a security uniform was leaning back with his legs crossed, lazily watching the screen. All the action in the bar was under his eyes, but when he saw a woman sitting in the corner, he jumped up. "Su Yanran, what is she doing here?" At this time, a security guard behind him walked over happily and sat next to him, greeting him familiarly. "Brother Feng, what are you looking at so intently?" This person was named Tong Hai, who had been here for 5 or 6 years. Lin Feng said casually, "Nothing, just getting familiar with the environment." After a pause, he asked again, "Brother Hai, you've been in this area a long time. Do you know the man drinking at table 7? He was just a guy on the monitor who had finished hitting on Su Yanran." "You mean Zhu Kai?" Tong Hai glanced at the screen. "A small punk leader. Did he annoy you?" "It's nothing like that." Lin Feng brushed it off. Truly, a protagonist's luck is no joke. Even he didn't expect that the person he beat up last night would. 2 hoodlums causing trouble on the street turned out to be Brother Bao's subordinates. As soon as Brother Bao heard someone was touched, his men arrived on the scene immediately, talking tough and challenging them to a duel. It turned out that Brother Bao's old injuries had flared up, making him limp. Ling Feng saw the problem at a glance and fixed him up in a few moves. Brother Bao was amazed and immediately arranged a position as security captain for him. Of course, what Lin Feng wanted wasn't this small position. He had heard news that Master Jin San's health had been poor. If he could cure that big shot, he would have the capital to challenge you later. However, Master Jin San hadn't been in Qiming recently, so Brother Bao had to settle him at the Blue Shell Bar as a security captain for the transition. Just now, seeing Su Yanran being pestered by Zhu Kai, Lin Feng followed his instincts and felt this wouldn't end so easily, so he spoke up. But he didn't notice at all that in a booth on the other side of the bar sat a man he wished he could skin alive. Looking at the quietly sitting Su Yanran from afar, your eyes lit up. Why would she appear here? The original host used to hook up with flight attendants at this bar, and since you were bored, you wanted to see if there was anyone decent to play with all night. Who would have thought she'd run into Su Yanran? A cold-faced female CEO, sitting alone in a bar corner in the middle of the night. You knew this plot all too well. When the female lead appears alone in such a place, some thugs are bound to show up within 10 minutes, and then the male lead appears to save the beauty and look cool to gain favor. Now that Su Yanran is sitting there alone, would Lin Feng be nearby too? Thinking of this, the corner of your mouth twitched slightly, revealing a mysterious smile. The result was exactly as you predicted. After you waited for 2.5 minutes, several shady men approached her. At the same time, you noticed the wine glass in Su Yanran's hand was shaking violently. She was clearly drunk. Seeing this, you instantly knew the opportunity had come. On Su Yanran's side, a burly dark man stared at the woman and smiled. "Hey, beauty, give us some face and have a drink with us, brothers?" Although Su Yanran's head felt heavy, her temper hadn't changed. The burly man wasn't annoyed, but laughed instead. "I like this attitude." He winked at his companion, and the yellow-haired guy next to him immediately understood, picking up a cocktail and handing it to Su Yanran. "Listen up, sister. My name is Wang Wu, the top figure in this area. Who doesn't know my name? Sister, I've taken a liking to you. I'll give you 2 choices. Either come with me or drink this." Before Wang Wu could finish, Su Yanran grabbed the glass, drained it in one gulp, and slammed it on the table. She spat out one word: "Get lost." This stance stunned even Wang Wu. "Ha ha, I didn't expect you to be so straightforward." Wang Wu's tone shifted. "But I only finished half of what I was saying. Actually, I wanted to say that once you drink this, you're mine." He approached with a sinister smile. "Since you're so bold, come with me now. I'll be gentle with you later." He reached his hand towards Su Yanran's shoulder. Seeing this, Su Yanran became momentarily sober. Realizing she had encountered a rogue, she struggled to stand up, but the alcohol had already taken over. Just as she pushed herself up, her vision went black, and she fell back into the chair. Seeing that hand getting closer and her body unable to move, she felt a chill in her heart. It's over. Just as that hand was less than 10 centimeters away, it suddenly froze. Then a calm voice rang out. "A piece of trash like you isn't worthy of touching her." "Damn, where did you come from?" Wang Wu swung his arm, cursed, and was about to strike. But halfway through his words, his wrist was suddenly gripped like a steel pincer. His whole body froze. It felt as if his meridians had been violently pinched, and the agonizing pain almost made him jump. You stared coldly at Wang Wu with a strange smile. "If you don't want to end your bloodline, you should get the hell out of here right now." Wang Wu finally pulled his wrist away. "Fine, you're tough. I'll let you have this girl today. Don't let me see you again." He ran off without looking back. Su Yanran took a long time to react, her voice trembling. Uncle Qin. What is a girl doing out here in the middle of the night and drinking like this?" You looked at her with a tone of blame and a hint of helplessness. At this moment, even Su Yanran felt the scene was absurd. Normally, she wasn't someone who lost control, and she didn't know what was wrong today. Regardless of what she thought, you didn't want to know either, because the system voice rang in your head again. Congratulations, host, for being one step ahead and completing the rescue of Su Yanran. Villain points plus 500, recycled luck value 100, obtained max level hidden weapon proficiency. This skill is great. Now, even if you face the protagonist head-on one day, you won't lose track of their shadow. Then you looked at your luck value, which had risen to 800, and couldn't help but sigh. Life is becoming more promising. Su Yanran lowered her head, wanting to explain but unable to speak. You didn't force her and waved your hand, indicating you would take her back. Hearing this, Su Yanran tried to stand up herself, but ultimately collapsed back into the chair. Seeing this, you sighed. "Let me help you." Growing up, Su Yanran had never been this close to any man, but thinking that you were her elder, she figured it was fine. "Then thank you, Uncle Qin." "Why so formal? Let's go!" You unceremoniously slung Su Yanran's arm over your shoulder and wrapped your other hand around her slender waist. Ding! First close contact with female lead Su Yanran. Villain points plus 300, recycled luck 100. Hearing this pleasant sound, your lips curled up. Su Yanran's waist was just the right size, soft yet firm with a great feel. Just as the two of you walked out of the bar, your brow furrowed. 20-some young thugs, armed with steel pipes and baseball bats, were blocking the way ahead. Li Jun and 3 others who had been protecting you in disguise quickly surrounded you. President Qin, leave quickly, don't worry about us. Although they were skilled, the opponents were too many and armed. You looked down at the person in your arms and simply picked Su Yanran up. Even though my combat skills are maxed out, fighting personally is too undignified. Bringing bodyguards, huh? Wang Wu stared at Li Jun's outfit and sneered. Are you really going to resist? Li Jun asked with a cold face. He hadn't seen such blind thugs in a long time. Who the hell is your brother? Wang Wu waved his hand. Brothers, get them. Total the men. Don't touch the woman. The thugs shouted and rushed forward with iron bars. Li Jun and the others reacted fast, flicking open their batons. One guarded the rear, one provided cover, and Li Jun personally cleared a path to protect your retreat. Seeing you almost out with the girl, Wang Wu got anxious. Send a few people to get that kid holding the woman. Don't let him run. Several thugs originally surrounding the bodyguards immediately turned toward you. Li Jun's heart skipped a beat. These trashes actually knew how to target the main force. He pushed back an opponent, trying to turn and save you, but was blocked by 2 others. He could only shout, "Watch out!" Unexpectedly, in the next second, a muffled sound was heard as a thug swinging, a steel pipe flew backward. What the hell happened? Before anyone could react, another bang followed. And another guy rushing up also flew horizontally, looking like a professional action movie stunt. The scene went dead silent. Li Jun took the chance to look back, and his mind went blank. He saw his seemingly weak President Qin holding the beauty with both hands, while one foot was being retracted. Clearly, those 2 men were kicked away by President Qin. Being blocked by these people made you furious. Su Yanran had already fallen asleep, hanging softly in your arms, making it very tiring to move. Truly enough, are you forcing me to use a heavy hand? From a distance, you saw one of the original host's lovers standing there, and nearby were Tang Shu and several other women. Seeing this, you raised your hand and shouted, "Qiu Xiaoman!" Don't just stand there, come help take care of her. Qiu Xiaoman had been depressed because you blacklisted her recently, but as someone who received $1 million breakup fee, she was willing to follow your orders. She quickly pulled Tang Shu over. Sorry, endure lying down for a bit. Before they could reach you, you quickly laid Su Yanran down flat on the ground, shrugged your shoulders and rushed into the crowd. Following that were screams of pain. Qiu Xiaoman and Tang Zhu, who had just steadied Su Yanran, were stunned. So cool, truly cool. Surprise, admiration, and a racing heart. Their emotions were a mess. Which girl doesn't like a man who can both make money and protect them? Currently, you were that person. Left arm knee strike, elbow strike, spinning kick. The whole set of moves was as smooth as if rehearsed 100 times. It was already past 11 p.m., and the bar was packed. People ran out to watch the movie, with great interest. Only Ling Feng stood in the corner, his expression changing repeatedly. What was going on? Qin Tian was actually this good at fighting? A wealthy man who knew medicine and could engage in life-or-death combat? It sounded like another version of himself. Brother Feng, are we still gonna act? Hong Hai stamped his feet in anxiety. If they didn't show up with such a mess outside, Brother Bao would surely blame them. Ling Feng slowly let out a breath. Fine, you guys go handle it, I won't go. Once Ling Feng gave the word, Hong Hai immediately led several brothers to rush out. The chaos outside was almost over. Seeing his men beaten to the ground one by one, Wang Wu turned to flee without a word. Want to leave? Your eyes turned cold. You picked up a small stone and threw it. It hit Wang Wu's ankle as if it had eyes. Wang Wu tripped and fell heavily. Old lie, bring him back to me. Your voice wasn't loud but carried a chill. Following the order, Old Li grabbed Wang Wu's collar and dragged him back, kicking him in the back of the knee. Wang Wu, already dizzy from the stone, fell to his knees. Damn you, you dared touch me? I'm Tiger Lord's man! Hearing this, you kicked him directly in the face. Tiger Lord? What kind of thing is that? You sneered. Go back and tell your Tiger Lord to find out who I am. Have him come personally to apologize within 3 days. Otherwise, there's no need for your entire gang to exist. Of course, if you can't find out who I am, that's even better. You won't even have the qualification to exist. Do you understand? Every word seemed squeezed from between your teeth. Understood. I'll tell him. Wang Wu's mouth was full of blood, and he hated you in his heart. Make Tiger Lord apologize? Who do you think you are? But he had to bow his head under the eaves and surrender for now. But how could you let him off so easily? A mouth is enough for delivering a message. Old Lai, cripple his limbs. What? Wang Wu looked up, his eyes bulging. Dealing with this kind of street thug. Old Li didn't hesitate at all. With a crack, Wang Wu's pig-like scream echoed through the street. Just after finishing off Wang Wu, the bar security finally ran out flustered. You couldn't be bothered with these wastes and turned to Li Jun and the other two. How are you guys? Are you okay? We're fine, the two bodyguards replied, enduring the pain. You noticed their clothes were covered in dust and blood. Old Lai, give each of them 100,000. Go to the hospital and get treated well. If it's not enough, come to me. Hearing this, Li Jun was surprised. Why did it feel like the boss had become a different person? Previously, he would have cursed them for being useless. When did he start caring for his subordinates? But he didn't dwell on it. The current boss was more to his liking. You ignored their thoughts and continued to Li Jun. You take them to the hospital. I'll take Miss Su back first. Li Jun was about to say it's not safe for you to be alone, but looking at the thugs on the ground, he swallowed his words and went to fetch the car. You walked quickly to Su Yanran's side. President Qin, her forehead is terrifyingly hot. Qiu Xiaoman said anxiously. You frowned and touched her forehead. Indeed, a high fever. At this time, Tang Shui said with a blush, I checked her pulse. She seems to have been drugged with an aphrodisiac. Clearly, the drink Wang Wu gave her earlier was spiked. You sneered inwardly. If you hadn't come tonight, Lin Feng might have really caught a huge break, saving the beauty and encountering the drugging plot. It was all perfectly arranged. You rushed Su Yanran toward the hospital. In the Porsche, Su Yanran was completely dazed. So hot, too hot. She couldn't stand the heat, and her clothes naturally started falling. You focused on the road while glancing at the passenger seat. To be honest, this scene would be explosive for any normal man. For others, it was a golden opportunity. But the system had said, ordinary women are fine, but these female leads are different. Their fates are tied to the protagonist. To touch them requires two conditions. First, they must be conscious, and second, it cannot be forced. Otherwise, there would be big trouble. Su Yanran was currently at her weakest. But what about later? You weren't the protagonist with a halo that makes girls fall in love after one night. If Su Yanran woke up tomorrow and found herself taken advantage of, she might bite back under the influence of the protagonist's halo. Then wouldn't you be a perfect cannon fodder villain? Thinking of this, you sighed with regret. Though it's a pity I'll be an honest man today. You floored the accelerator and headed for your villa. The idea that you'll die if you don't have sex after taking the drug is nonsense. Real life isn't that extreme. It makes one miserable, but as long as you endure, the effect fades after a few hours. Soon, they reached Lishanvia. When you carried the soft Su Yanran out of the car, she was already clinging to you, rubbing her face against yours and biting your neck. You had to carry her into the bathroom, turn on the cold water, and throw her into the bathtub. The ice water poured down, and Su Yanran shivered, finally regaining some clarity. Her memory was fragmented. She vaguely remembered meeting thugs and being saved by Uncle Chiskin. Suddenly a flash of images appeared, and Su Yanran woke up. She looked around. The room was large and bright, with European-style decor and gold leaf ceilings. It looked expensive. But she had never seen this place. Looking down, she was wrapped in a thick bathrobe, fully covered, but it wasn't her home. Her heart tightened, and she checked under the robe. Her undergarments were gone. She slumped to the floor. But then she felt something was wrong. Although her head was dizzy, her body felt no different. No after-effect feeling, as mentioned online. Doubts flooded her mind, and she rushed out. The entire villa was brightly lit, but not a soul was in sight. When she reached the ground floor, the familiar figure appeared. You were wearing a bathrobe. Legs crossed on the sofa, playing with your phone. Uncle? Uncle Chin? Hearing the noise, you looked up. You're awake? Su Yanran's heart skipped a beat. Why am I here? Do you remember what happened before? You pointed to the sofa beside you. Su Yanran sat down obediently, nodded, then shook her head. She had some impression of the first half, but after that, her mind was foggy. It seemed she had once hugged Qin Tian tightly. At this thought, her face turned beet red. Could it be that something really happened? She stopped the thought immediately. You saw through her inner turmoil. You don't remember clearly, right? Let me help you. A guy named Wang Wu gave you a drink, remember? Su Yanran nodded. The drink was spiked. I planned to take you home, but the drug hit too fast. It wouldn't sound good if your family or a doctor found out, so I brought you to my house. Su Yanran tried to remember. It seemed to be the case. Then what about my clothes? To suppress the drug. I let you soak in cold water for a bit. Your clothes were all wet. You said flatly, I had the maid dry your hair and body and change you into a bathrobe. The maid changed me? Su Yanran caught that point. You shrugged. Did you think I did it personally? Hearing this, Su Yanran felt embarrassed because she vaguely remembered kissing Qin Tian. She didn't even dare to look you in the eye. Seeing her predicament, you waved your hand casually. Uncle Qin, if you don't mind, can I stay the night? Confirming nothing big happened, Su Yanran finally breathed a sigh of relief. I don't mind. It just depends on whether you're worried about gossip. You glanced at her and realized you could see her status. Her favorability had reached 62%. According to the system, once these female leads have favor for a villain, he can view their specific data. Ordinary people's trust at 90% means complete submission, but for a female lead. Once favorability breaks 90%, you can ignore the protagonist's luck. There were many rooms in Lishan Villa. You picked one for her and mentioned that once her clothes were dried, the maid would bring them. Your thoughtful arrangement made Su Yanran's mind wander. He walked to the bed and saw the sheets were new and recently changed. Even this was considered. For the first time, she experienced what it meant to have a mature man's thoughtfulness. This Uncle Keen was not only good-looking but also meticulous, naturally attractive to girls. As she thought, the image popped up again. Your sharp face, solid build, strong arms, and that reassuring masculine scent. Was this what liking someone felt like? Su Yanran shook her head violently. How could she like him? I'm only 4 years older than his son, but he really is handsome, gentle, and reliable. Hugging him must be very steady. But he's an elder. Her internal angel and devil started arguing until sleepiness took over. The next morning, the bathrobe seemed a bit damp. She quickly hugged it and ran into the bathroom. In the morning, you looked at the bathrobe hanging outside with a confused face. There are servants at home. What is this girl doing? And she gave me 200 villain points first thing in the morning? What did she do? You shook your head and left. Meanwhile, in the Blue Shell bar booth, Brother Hugh, playing with iron balls, stared at the surveillance with a pale face. When he recognized the girl was the Su family's daughter, he wanted to shove his subordinate back into the womb. He had offended both the Qin and Su families at once. Get the car! I need to apologize in person! Back at the Su mansion, the young lady was repeatedly watching the video of the hero saving the beauty. Seeing you protecting her, she suddenly laughed. So a dominant CEO gets his tie messed up in a fight too? Her finger unconsciously brushed your profile on the screen. Then she realized what she was doing and threw the tablet onto the sofa in shame. Su Yanran, are you crazy? But her red ears betrayed her. President Qin, the police are here to see you. In the top floor office of the Qin Group building, you, who had just deployed the mission to monitor Ling Feng, raised an eyebrow. Let Lawyer Deng handle it. You turned your pen nonchalantly. This small scene didn't require your presence. Capital's power was evident. For the same fight, the protagonist would go to jail, while the villain went scot-free. That's the ironic reality. You stared at the city model. To crush that lucky cockroach, you had to act on multiple fronts, intercepting opportunities, conquering female leads, and strengthening your own power. System! Where is the boundary of forced? Your pen spun into an afterimage. As long as you don't use physical force, business methods are fair game. The mechanical voice gave an ambiguous answer. While planning a scheme, a WeChat notification suddenly rang. An avatar named Deng Yuqing was flashing. President Qin, can I buy you a coffee? This person was the woman with Tang Shua's knight. You immediately had an idea. Though not a female lead, she'd make a good pawn. 2 p.m., Mingxi Coffee, you replied briefly. On the other side, the real estate reception desk exploded. Deng Yuqing's fingers trembled with excitement as she booked the city's most expensive cafe. Just as she fantasized about a wealthy life, a shrill ring shattered her dream. Wang Ho's caller ID made her face change instantly. Are you done yet? She barked into the phone. The voice on the other end was weak and pleading. Xiaoqing, my mom was hospitalized 2 days ago. The surgery is 30,000. I scrambled to get 10,000. Can you help me with 20,000? What? 20,000? You think I'm a bank? Before she could finish, Deng Yuqing exploded. She realized colleagues were nearby, turned red, and walked to the end of the hallway. Wang Hao, is your head full of water? In the year we've been together, how much have you spent on me? Did you rush to pay for dinner? Did you ever buy movie tickets? Now you ask for 20,000. I'm sorry, I'm really at a dead end. We are still together after all. Together? We've only held hands a few times, she sneered. Xiaoqing, what do you mean? Wang Hao froze. What do I mean? You know, we're finished. Clear? Wang Hao was stunned. Is money more important than me? You're dumping me just to avoid lending money? Yes, money is important. I'm breaking up because I'm afraid of lending it. She worked hard selling houses for this money. You make 1,000 a month writing web novels. How will you pay me back? But my mom, I have no choice. No buts. Wang Hao, we have no future. I don't want to squeeze into Subways and eat takeout every day in a room without a balcony. This isn't the life I want. Silence followed before Wang Hao spoke slowly. So you're set on breaking up? Deng Yuqing had wanted to break up long ago. She just waited for him to say it. But he was always buried in his novel world. She said goodbye and hung up. She breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. She had to meet President Qin this afternoon. At the city hospital entrance, a young man sat slumped on the steps clutching his phone. It was over. His mother needed money. He had asked all his relatives. And only one iron brother gave 10,000. Everyone else played dead. He expected relatives to be unreliable, but he didn't expect his girlfriend to be so heartless. You have money but won't save my mom? Why? He growled. Deng Yuqing, remember this. When I rise one day, you will regret today. Suddenly, his head felt heavy and he blacked out. When he woke up, he was in a hospital bed. He felt like his head had a giant bookshelf full of novels. What was this? He pulled out the first one. This is a world where battle chi is king. The first line hooked him. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west. Don't bully the young for being poor. This is how a novel should be. And the protagonist's experience was like his. Meanwhile, his friend Chen Shikai, who lent him 10,000, was bringing fruit. Passing Mingxi Coffee, he spotted a back. Deng Yuqing? Why is she here? He called Wang Hao. Haozi, I just saw Deng Yuqing enter Mingxi Coffee. A cup there is hundreds. Where does she get the money? Wang Hao understood immediately. They had just broken up. Chen Fatty said, Haozi, breaking up is a big deal. You should say it face to face. She probably found someone else before dumping you. Can you swallow this? What can I do? Wang Hao's voice rose. If she's with another man, don't worry about Grace. Confront her. Wang Hao hesitated, then grit his teeth. Wait for me, I'm coming. He wouldn't spend every day obsessing over making her regret it once he became successful. If you ask me, if she really hooked up with another man, you shouldn't worry about being a gentleman. If you need to confront her, then confront her. Even if you have to have a falling out, you need to ask for the truth to her face. Wang Hao hesitated. Actually going to argue with her in person felt like he was lowering himself and losing face. But then he thought of how she had just dumped him so decisively and cleanly. He gritted his teeth and said, Fine, wait for me. I'm going over there right now. Meanwhile, at the Mingxi coffee shop, you arrived at the entrance with Li Jun and 4 bodyguards. Deng Yuqing spotted you at a glance and immediately raised her hand to wave. President Qin, over here. You look quite beautiful today, you said with a smile as soon as you sat down. Deng Yuqing was so happy she couldn't close her mouth, secretly feeling glad that her careful grooming hadn't gone to waste. You really know how to compliment people, thank you, President Qin. You didn't pay much attention and instead cut straight to the chase. I don't like beating around the bush, so I'll just be blunt. We only met for the first time yesterday. If we say we're familiar, we're not familiar at all. If we say we're friends, you don't really qualify as one either. Under these circumstances, you asking me out is either for cooperation or because you want to get closer. Given your situation, you're definitely not here to talk business, so the answer is obviously the latter. Deng Yuqing's face turned beet red from your directness, and she stammered, unable to say a complete sentence. If you want to express something, just say it. Since I came with that intention in mind. Seeing this, Deng Yuiqing finally mustered her courage and stated her purpose. President Qin, can you give me a chance? She was afraid that if she didn't tell the truth now, the opportunity would slip through her fingers. Hearing her words, you smiled. Being brave enough to admit what you want is much better than those shy, materialistic girls. There's no problem with being with me, but I have 3 rules. If you can agree to them, we can leave right now. First, from now on, you are not allowed to get close to other men. Don't even talk about dating. Even so-called confidants or good bros won't work. Second, I will not marry you, nor will I stay with only you. Third, in the future, only I can find you. You are not allowed to contact me proactively. My meaning is very simple, and that's it. You were straightforward and laid out all your thoughts at once. Of course, since you're accompanying me on this journey, I won't let your efforts be in vain. I won't be stingy with the money you need to spend. You can choose whatever you want for your lifestyle. Even if we break up one day, I'll toss a sum of money to you that's enough for you to live comfortably for a while. If you don't believe me, you can go to your friend Q Xiaoman and ask around. Xiaoman also talked with you? Deng Yuiqing was stunned for a moment, but then she felt it was only natural. After all, who would proactively tell others about this kind of thing? You have 2 minutes to consider. In 2 minutes, I want a definite answer from you. President Qin, will you look down on me? Deng Yuiqing bit her lip and didn't give a direct answer. She knew in her heart that the way she looked now was likely degrading and shameful in the eyes of others. However, your answer surprised her. No. There's nothing wrong with living life for your own satisfaction. The so-called rumors outside are just because some people lack self-awareness. You're different. You have good looks and a great body, so you have the capital to choose a better life. Why would I look down on you? Deng Yuiqing almost thought she had heard wrong. It was the first time someone had spoken about being a mistress so calmly, as if it weren't dirty or shameful at all. Do you think I have a need to make up nice things to make you happy? You shot her a sideways glance, your tone carrying a hint of irony. Understanding women is something for idle people to do. I, Qin Tian, never engage in such boring business. After about 20 minutes, you stood up, paid the bill, and prepared to leave. Just as you stepped out of the shop, Deng Yuiqing had already quietly taken your arm because she truly couldn't find a reason to refuse. President Qin, where are we going next? Hearing her words, the corners of your mouth curled up. First, we'd go buy clothes. The outfit you're wearing now is quite nice, but since you're going to stand by my side, just being nice isn't enough. As soon as these words came out, Deng Yuiqing's heart skipped a beat. Is this the feeling of latching onto a rich man? One sentence and the card is swiped immediately. No wonder so many girls would rather be a mistress than spend a lifetime with a poor guy. Remembering when Wang Hao invited her to eat a bowl of hot and sour rice noodles, and would even pick a stall under 10 yuan. Deng Yuiqing felt a pang in her heart. Suddenly, a shout pulled her back to reality as 2 black shadows rushed over from the street corner. Before the other party could get close to you, they were blocked by the 2 men in black beside you. Deng Yuiqing looked closely and saw it was Wang Hao. Wang Hao, why are you here? You're asking me why I'm here? Deng Yuiqing, I really misjudged you. Wang Hao glared at you fiercely, his words full of thorns. Beside him, Fatty Chen watched you get out of a luxury car, and his eyes almost popped out at that style. You just broke up with me this morning, and this afternoon you're already together with someone else? You're quite the pure young girl, aren't you? Deng Yuiqing was so angry she wanted to snap back, but she suppressed her emotions, wanting to explain the situation to you first. However, before she could speak, she was stopped by your raised hand. I'll give you 5 minutes. After saying that, you didn't look at them again and got into the luxury car under the escort of your bodyguards. Wang Hao and Fatty Chen completely didn't expect you to react this way. Originally, the two had come to show off, wanting to expose Deng Yuiqing's flaws in front of you and make her look ugly. But you didn't engage at all, not even blinking an eye. Wang Hao, instead of taking good care of your mom, why are you coming here to mess around? Deng Yuiqing saw that you had already entered the car and quickly took the opportunity to speak. When Wang Hao heard this, his anger flared up. Deng Yuiqing, if you had met someone else after we broke up, I'd have nothing to say, but what are you doing now? We haven't even officially separated, and you've already started showing off a new man. Do you think this is very glorious? You weren't this kind of person before. Wang Hao's tone dropped, revealing a bit of disappointment as his voice softened. You also know those rich people never lack women around them. He's good to you now, but maybe one day he'll get bored and kick you away. What are you after? Even if I'm kicked away, it's still better than wasting time with you. Deng Yuqing finally couldn't hold it back anymore and interrupted directly. Wang Hao, can you stop lying to yourself? President Qin has the looks, the money, and the ability. What's wrong with being with him? Even if he doesn't want me in the future, that's my own choice. It's better than spending a lifetime with you and not even being able to eat a decent meal. You want 20,000 yuan for your mom's medical bills, right? I'll transfer it to you now. After she finished speaking, she took out her phone and swiped her finger, and 20,000 yuan was immediately sent to Wang Hao's account. Then she showed the successful transfer screen to Wang Hao, her eyes bright. This is a breakup fee. I'm giving it to you. She said each word clearly, her finger pointing from herself to Wang Hao. It wasn't often that a woman threw money at a man to dump him. From now on, we are even and have nothing more to do with each other. Let's just leave it at that. After saying this, she didn't look back and headed straight for your luxury car. However, just at that moment, the system in your mind suddenly rang. Ding! Successfully snatched the protagonist's ex-girlfriend, the plot direction has begun to change. Obtained 300 villain points. Villain points have reached the standard for drawing skills. Do you want to draw now? Don't draw yet. Originally, you just wanted to use Deng Yuqing as a pawn to solve the trouble on Tang Shui's side. You hadn't expected to reap other benefits along the way, that Wang Hao was obviously Deng Yuqing's ex-boyfriend. You could see that at a glance. But the system actually said you successfully snatched the protagonist's ex-girlfriend. In other words, Wang Hao is the protagonist of this story. So right now, he is a rich second generation being stepped on by the protagonist's script. System, scan him for me. Seeing Deng Yuqing walking over, you quickly used your peripheral vision to lock onto Wang Hao. Scanning complete. Name, Wang Hao. Luck value, 72. Target's luck is in an upward phase. Current value cannot be accurately determined. When you saw that 72 points of luck, you almost thought your eyes were playing tricks on you. But when that line of small text appeared below, you immediately realized what was happening. This guy has likely just bound a protagonist system, and his destiny hasn't fully exploded yet, so he hasn't started his counterattack and turnaround yet. The key is that there is actually more than one protagonist in this world. You gave a soft tisk in your heart. Although the villain points gained this time weren't many, at least it provided a new clue. Sorry, President Qin, I kept you waiting. You glanced at Wang Hao, who was still standing there dazed and couldn't be bothered to care anymore, simply letting Li Jun drive away. Was that guy standing there your boyfriend? Oh, President Qin. We just ate together a few times and watched a couple of movies. At most we held hands. Listening to Deng Yuqing's frantic explanation, you gave a light laugh. Don't worry, I just asked casually. Even if you really had something going on, I wouldn't take it to heart. Let's go pick out some clothes first. Deng Yuqing nodded quickly. A grassroots counterattacking protagonist like Wang Hao is much easier to deal with than those all-powerful types, so you weren't in a hurry at all. Xiaoman, have you talked with President Qin? While you were resting with your eyes closed, Deng Yuqing quietly sent a message to her best friend. How did you know about this? Qiu Xiaoman was startled. Don't worry about how I know. I just want to know how much the breakup fee was. Fine, but you absolutely cannot tell anyone. If you dare talk nonsense, let's not contact each other anymore. I swear I won't tell a third person. 1 million. Besides giving me a bunch of things, he also threw 1 million at me when we broke up. Seeing the number 1 million, Deng Yuqing was completely stunned. She hadn't expected a rich person to be so generous. Based on her current salary, she would have to work for nearly 10 years without eating or drinking. Seeing this number, her heart was completely at ease. After chatting a bit more with Qiu Xiaoman, she quickly put her phone away. After all, she had to serve her sugar daddy well. By the way, how do you know Tang Shui? You suddenly spoke from the back seat. Deng Yuqing quickly replied. A colleague of hers is my fellow townsman. We've gone out to play a few times and became familiar. Then what do you do now? And what kind of relationship do you have with Qiu Xiaoman? I run a small stall in the city area, and Xiaoman was my university classmate. Our relationship has always been good. Deng Yuqing spoke frankly. You nodded slightly and didn't ask more, because logically speaking, when a protagonist rises, the ex-girlfriend will surely become a stepping stone. This also meant that a pawn like Deng Yuqing could not only play a role with Ling Feng, but might also drag this number 2 protagonist into the pit along with her.